Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep into the career of an athlete whose name, regardless of sport or gender, has become the definitive shorthand for the greatest of all time.
Mm.
Today, our focus is Simone Biles.
And when we talk about Simone Biles, you have to understand that we are tracking a statistical anomaly. It's wrapped up in this generational athletic genius.
Yeah.
Her numbers are just staggering. You're looking at 30 world championship medals and 11 Olympic medals. She is officially the most decorated artistic gymnast, and that's male or female in world championships history.
That's the critical distinction, isn't it? The one we need to make right out of the gate.
It really is.
Her total Olympic medal count, 11, that places her tied with the Czech legend Věra Oslavská as the second most decorated female Olympic gymnast, just behind Larisa Latnina.
Right. But the sheer volume and, the longevity of her dominance at the World Championships, that's a different story.
Completely different story. 23 of those 30 world medals are gold.
23. That puts her in a category of one. It fundamentally reshapes the global record books.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to track this incredible arc, and we'll be moving through what we see in the sources as, well, two pretty definitive chapters of her life.
The first chapter is her initial, I'd say, world-shaking athletic dominance. That's the era of records, unprecedented difficulty, peaking initially in Rio and then continuing all the way through 2019.
And the second chapter, which is equally important, is her world-changing personal advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter is defined largely by her decisions in Tokyo regarding mental health, her powerful testimony about systemic abuse, and then her triumphant return to the highest level in Paris.
Exactly. These two chapters, pure dominance and then this profound vulnerability, are what collectively redefine what strength and greatness look like in elite sports for you, the audience, and for, future generations of athletes.
But before we jump in, let's look at those foundational numbers one more time.
Yeah, let's do that. By the time she finished her run in Paris in 2024, she had surpassed Vitaly Sherbo as the most successful gymnast of all time at the Olympics and World Championships combined.
She just made the impossible seem routine.
She did.
So let's jump right into the beginning, the ascent, the crucial years from her early life up through that Rio quad.
Right.
Simone Ariane Biles was born on March 14, 1997, in Columbus, Ohio. And the sources make it really clear that her early childhood was marked by a lot of challenge.
A great deal of challenge. She and her three siblings moved in and out of the foster care system because their birth mother, Shannon Biles, was struggling with substance abuse and, was just unable to provide stable care.
That instability is such a crucial part of her story, and the pivotal change that provided the stability required for such an elite trajectory happened in 2003.
That's right. Her maternal grandfather, Ron Biles, and his second wife, Nellie Cayetano Biles, took her and her younger sister, Adria, into their home in Spring, Texas.
And they formally adopted the two girls.
They did. And that provided the solid, loving foundation that would underpin everything that came after. Ron and Nellie became her parents.
And the sources also highlight this wonderful side note to the family history. Because Nellie is from Belize, Simone actually holds dual U.S. and Belizean citizenship.
Which she's always been quite open about. She considers Belize her second home, which just speaks to that strong family bond and the foundation they built in Texas.
That foundation was so vital because her athletic trajectory accelerated fast.
Incredibly fast. She started training with Amy Borman at age 8, and Borman recognized her talent immediately, but it wasn't just, raw talent, it was her willingness to commit fully.
And that commitment really materialized in 2012, when she made a pretty significant strategic decision.
A huge one. It signaled her intent for global domination. She switched from attending public school to being homeschooled.
That shift, it doesn't sound like a big deal on the surface, but when you actually look at the training hours, it was a massive professional sacrifice for a teenager.
It absolutely was.
What exactly did that scheduling change allow her to do?
It was purely about maximizing training volume and recovery time. The sources show it allowed her to significantly increase her training regimen from around 20 hours a week to an intense professional athlete standard of 32 hours per week.
Wow.
Yeah. That level of dedication, prioritizing the gym over traditional schooling, it just shows the singular focus she had on elite competition. She actually completed her high school diploma in mid-2015.
And even before Rio, she made another critical choice about her future. She verbally committed to UCLA back in 2014, intending to defer until after the 2016 Games.
Right, but the financial realities and just the trajectory of her dominance meant that by July 2015, she announced she was turning professional.
Forfeiting her NCAA eligibility.
Exactly. It was just clear even then that her path was going to be defined by global senior competition, not college athletics.
Which makes sense. She was an elite gymnast by 14, officially starting her elite career in 2011. And her senior international debut came quickly in 2013 at the American Cup,
Where she finished second behind her teammate Caitlin Ohashi. But this period holds another critical detail that I think often gets overlooked in just the raw medal count.
What's that?
The intense struggle she had with performance anxiety.
That feels like the first real moment of that applied mental strength that, foreshadows Tokyo.
Hmm.
What does the biographical account tell us about this early psychological hurdle?
It was significant after a notably poor performance at the U.S. Classic in July 2013, where she fell multiple times. She and her coaches made the proactive decision to consult a sports psychologist.
And she's been very open about that.
Incredibly open. She credits this early intervention with helping her manage the intense pressure, the anxiety, the confidence issues she was facing. She says that work directly preceded her monumental streak of dominance later that same year.
So the foundation for her global success wasn't just physical. It was established by recognizing a mental weakness and turning it into a strength.
Right, through applied knowledge. That insight is so vital for anyone who looks up to her.
It really is. It shows that even the greatest of all time needs professional help to manage the enormous mental load of elite competition.
And the results were, they were immediate and historic. Later in 2013, at just 16 years old, she goes to the World Championships in Antwerp and becomes the national all-around champion and then the world all-around champion.
Instantly placing her in the history books.
Instantly. First African-American woman and the 7th American woman overall to win that most prestigious of titles.
And she didn't just win. She announced her arrival with a level of technical capability that just forced everyone to pay attention.
For sure. The sources detail that she was the first American gymnast since Shannon Miller, way back in 1991, to qualify for the all-around and all-four event finals at a single World Championships.
And she took home gold on floor, silver on vault, and bronze on beam. A stunning senior debut that proved her all-around mastery from the get-go.
And from 2014 to 2015, the accolades moved past promising and went straight into unprecedented. In 2014, she repeated as world all-around champion. This made her only the second American woman after Shannon Miller in the mid-90s to get back-to-back titles. And the U.S. record books just started to crumble.
She surpassed Miller's total of 5 to hold the American record for most World Championship gold medals.
And that momentum carried straight through to 2015. That year, the discussion shifted from great American gymnast to greatest ever.
So at the Glasgow Worlds, what was the definitive achievement there?
The definitive achievement was becoming the first woman ever to win 3 consecutive world all-around titles.
Ever.
No woman had ever demonstrated that level of consistency and longevity at the top of the all-around podium. She capped off that 2015 performance by reaching 14 total world championship medals, the most for any American, and 10 total gold medals, setting the record for any woman in world championships history.
To win 10 world gold medals before your first Olympic Games is it's staggering.
That's unbelievable.
That dominance sets the perfect stage for the Rio 2016 Summer Olympics, the games that cemented her global superstardom.
She was named to the legendary team known affectionately as the Final Five.
The 2016 Games were historic. She delivered 4 gold medals, team, individual all-around, vault, and floor exercise.
And that individual all-around victory was particularly dominant. She had the highest scores on 3 of the 4 events, vault, beam, and floor. And she and Aly Raisman became the second pair of American gymnasts to win gold and silver in the all-around.
I remember that balance beam final so vividly. The sources specifically mention a small stumble where she grabbed the beam with her hands.
A mandatory 0.5 deduction.
Right. Yet, despite that major error, a mistake that would doom almost any other gymnast, she still walked away with the bronze medal.
And that fact speaks volumes about the sheer chasm of technical difficulty she maintained over her rivals. Her baseline complexity was so high that she had a built-in cushion that allowed her to absorb a major deduction and still get on the podium.
Her 4 gold medals set an American record for the most golds in women's gymnastics at a single Games.
And in terms of historical comparison, she was now in the most elite of clubs. She became only the fourth female gymnast in history to that point to win every major all-around title in an Olympic cycle. The others are legends like Latinina, Aslawska, and Torsheva.
She had conquered every significant title the sport offered.
Every single one.
But following the glow of Rio, there was this moment of unwanted controversy that also became a moment of personal advocacy, which is such a key through line in her life.
That's right. In September 2016, her medical information was leaked following the Fancy Bear hack into the World Anti-Doping Agency, WDA, and she was falsely accused of doping.
She handled that moment with incredible honesty and transparency.
She did. She went on Twitter and publicly disclosed that she has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and had a therapeutic use exemption, a TEU, to take medication Ritalin for it, a condition she'd been diagnosed with as a child.
Let's just pause on this for a minute. For a young athlete who has just achieved global fame, facing a hack that threatens to derail your reputation, that's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. But her response turned this whole incident on its head.
It really did.
By being immediately transparent, she controlled the narrative, and she was widely applauded for her openness, turning what the hackers intended to be a scandal into this powerful moment of advocacy for both mental health and the transparency of the TUE process.
This wasn't just defending herself, it was normalizing a medical condition for high-achieving athletes.
Exactly.
So following the Games, she took a necessary hiatus in 2017 to recover and reset.
Which is crucial after the mental and physical stress of an Olympic quad. She also released her autobiography, Courage to Soar, and started managing her professional life differently, including a coaching change.
Right after her longtime coach, Amy Borman, relocated to Florida.
So she returned to conditioning in August 2017, and later that year hired the French coaching duo Laurent Lundy and Cécile Conquetot-Lundy.
And that partnership proved instrumental not just in maintaining her dominance, but in dramatically increasing her difficulty.
A strategy that would define her post-Rio career and lead to the creation of skills that were, well, technically impossible for her contemporaries.
That brings us squarely into the second chapter of her athletic dominance, covering the 2018-2019 period, the era of total, quantifiable supremacy and profound public reckoning.
And when she returned to competition in 2018, she didn't just ease back in. She immediately dominated the U.S. Classic, setting a new high all-around score for the 2017-2020 Code of Points.
Crucially, she did this even with a fall on bars and an out-of-bounds penalty on floor.
Which just proved that her base difficulty had accelerated past everyone else, even when she wasn't perfect.
And that dominance continued at the 2018 U.S. National Championships. She achieved something truly historic there.
She won gold in every single event over the 2 days of competition. The all-around, vault, beam, floor, and uneven bars.
A clean sweep.
The sources confirm it was the first time a woman had done that since Dominique Dawes in 1994, securing Biles' record 5th national all-around title.
And the margin of victory was insane.
The gap she maintained was staggering 6.55 points ahead of the second-place finisher. This wasn't competition, this was a demonstration.
Yet even in the middle of this total dominance, she faced significant physical and emotional trials leading into the 2018 World Championships in Doha.
This is a story of almost unbelievable grit.
Yeah.
She was rushed to the emergency room the night before qualifications, severe stomach pains, which doctors identified as a kidney stone.
And she still competed.
After confirming it wasn't appendicitis and getting some pain management, she checked herself out and competed the next day, kidney stone and all.
I have to ask, what do you think the long-term emotional cost was for competing under that kind of duress? Is that a moment of inspiring grit, or is it a moment where the overwhelming pressure forces an athlete to perform when they should be resting?
I think it's likely both, and it just speaks to the immense internal and external pressure she faced. But she delivered. She qualified first in the all-round and for most event finals.
And in the team final, she competed on all 4 events, leading the U.S. team to gold by a record margin.
A record margin of 8.766 points ahead of the silver medal Russian team. That shattered previous records.
But the defining moment of that year, the moment that technical analysts still talk about, was the individual all-around final in Doha.
Right.
She won her 4th world all-around title, surpassing Svetlana Korkina's previous record of 3. And she did it, despite falling on both the vault and the balance beam.
I know. How is that possible?
Exactly. How is that possible?
This is the definitive technical insight that you, the listener, need to understand. The difficulty gap. Her routines were built with such high difficulty values, or D scores, that even with mandatory deductions from two major falls, her starting score was so high that her total still eclipsed the highest possible clean scores of her competitors.
So the 1.7-point victory margin, despite two falls, perfectly illustrates that.
It perfectly illustrates that she was fundamentally competing against a different and far more demanding code of points that she alone was capable of mastering.
She forced the sport to rewrite its own rulebook, which we'll get to. But the records just kept tumbling in 2018.
They did. She won the vault gold, her first career world vault title. And by doing that, she broke Vitaly Sherbo's record for most world gold medals, reaching 13.
And critically, she won silver on the uneven bars.
An event often considered her relative weakness. That silver made her the 10th female gymnast overall and the first American woman to win a world championship medal on every single apparatus.
All around vault, bars, beam, and floor.
She had truly mastered the entirety of the sport.
Before we move into the technical revolution of 2019, it is just impossible to discuss this period without dedicating significant time to the painful necessity of her public advocacy around the Nassar abuse.
That's right. In January 2018, Biles made the public statement revealing that former USA Gymnastics physician Larry Nassar had sexually assaulted her.
This was a massive, emotionally taxing decision. It came months after she had shared that she wasn't emotionally ready to face Nassar at his initial sentencing hearings.
And she quickly became a leading unifying voice for the hundreds of survivors. A really powerful symbolic gesture happened at the 2018 National Championships, which she dedicated to them.
That was the teal leotard moment.
Right. She wore a teal leotard, a color she helped design to honor the survivors of Nassar's abuse, as this public statement of unity and resilience. It signaled that she was competing for something much larger than herself.
And this advocacy didn't stop at symbolic gestures. It culminated in one of the most devastating and, frankly, vital pieces of testimony in recent sports history in 2021.
That was her testimony to the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee alongside Michaela Maroney, Maggie Nichols, and Aly Raisman.
Her testimony was just damning and so clear.
It was. She stated explicitly that she blamed the entire system, specifically USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, for enabling and perpetuating the crimes by failing to act on clear warnings.
That public act of bravery, of demanding accountability, it elevated her role far beyond sport. She became a force for institutional change.
It absolutely puts her accomplishments into context. She achieved her greatest professional dominance during a period of immense personal and political trauma, constantly fighting for change while simultaneously pushing the boundaries of human performance.
So now let's pivot back to that technical superiority that allowed her to win while dealing with all of this. This is the period, 2019, where she officially revolutionized the code of points through the introduction of the Biles elements.
This is a deep dive into the rules, so let's get technical for a second.
Let's do it.
When an athlete performs a brand new, never-before-seen skill successfully in a major international competition, it gets named after them and assigned a difficulty score, or D score. Biles currently has 5 eponymous skills across 3 different apparatuses.
And we already had the Biles vault from 2018.
Right, a Yurchenko half-on, followed by a straight front salto with the double twist-off. That was originally a 6.4 difficulty value, making it tied with the Protonova as the most difficult women's vault ever competed at that time.
But 2019 is where she truly broke the difficulty scale.
At the national championships, she debuted 2 new skills that would be officially named after her later that year at the Worlds.
Let's start with the balance beam. It's already the apparatus of risk and precision. What did she introduce there?
On the balance beam, she introduced the Biles dismount, a double-twisting, double-tucked salto dismount. This was assigned a difficulty rating of H, which translates to 0.8 difficulty points.
A huge strategic move.
A critical one. Her coach, Cecile Concaito-Landi, helped her rework her beam performance, removing inconsistent, lower-value skills and replacing them with this upgraded, high-risk, high-reward dismount.
And then there's the famous one on floor exercise, the Biles II. The one that makes everyone just gasp.
The Biles II on floor is the triple-twisting, double-tucked salto backwards, often called the triple-double. This skill was assigned the letter J, which is 1.0 full difficulty points.
And this is where we need to emphasize the magnitude. Why is a J rating so significant for our listener who may not be a gymnastics scoring expert?
A J rating means an element is valued at 1.0 points. This holds a unique distinction. It is the highest difficulty rating across all disciplines for both men and women in artistic gymnastics.
The highest for the entire sport.
For the entire sport. A 1.0 difficulty element fundamentally warps the scoring strategy. It's almost unheard of. To beat her, competitors wouldn't just need a clean routine. They would literally need to perform skills that don't yet exist or are significantly lower value.
She didn't just set a new record for women, she set a new difficulty ceiling for the entire sport globally.
Precisely.
So she goes into the 2019 World Championships in Stuttgart as the undisputed technical monarch, and her goal was simply to cement the statistical reality.
And she did. Team USA won its fifth consecutive team title. Her performance in Stuttgart was almost flawless, culminating in her fifth world all-around title. She won by an astronomical record-setting margin of 2.1 points.
2.1 points. That difficulty gap again, just insurmountable.
She consistently posted the highest scores of the day on 3 of the 4 events: vault, beam, and floor.
The individual medal haul was just as historic. By winning gold on vault, she tied Sherbo's record for most World Championships medals at 23.
And then the following day, by winning balance beam gold, she secured her 24th World Championships medal, officially becoming the sole record holder for most World Championship medals won by any gymnast, male or female, surpassing Vitaly Sherbo's total.
It was a monumental haul. She finished the Stuttgart Worlds with 5 gold medals,
Tying the record for most golds won at a single World Championships, matching legends Larissa Latinina and Boris Shoklin, who did that way back in 1958.
Wow.
And her 5th gold medal on floor exercise secured the most titles on one apparatus in World Championships history. That was the perfect climax to her first decade of unparalleled dominance.
That incredible run sets the stage for the defining moment of her career, and maybe the defining moment of the decade in women's sports, the period from 2020 through the 2024 Paris Olympics.
A period defined by mental strength, vulnerability, and the ultimate comeback.
Of course, 2020 was derailed by the pandemic, but in 2021, anticipation for the Tokyo Olympics was at a fever pitch.
She was the heavy favorite, not just to win, but to sweep. She qualified first in the all-around, and remarkably for all 4 individual finals, the only athlete to do so.
But the sources indicate the mental pressure was already massive. She was already talking about the strain.
She was. Following qualifications, she posted on Instagram saying she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. The expectation was suffocating. Then came the crisis point during the team final.
On her first rotation, the Aminar vault, she balked midair.
Only performing 1.5 twists instead of the expected 2.5, resulting in a low score.
And that was the moment she pivoted away from athletic performance and towards self-preservation. She subsequently withdrew from the rest of the team competition, citing mental health issues and explaining she was experiencing the Twisties.
It was a brave and conscious choice. She directly cited Naomi Osaka's prior withdrawals from high-profile competitions as an inspiration, showing a clear generational shift in how elite athletes were starting to address the crushing mental toll of competition.
And the remaining U.S. team, quickly nicknamed the Fighting Four, went on to win a well-deserved silver medal.
They did.
So let's break down the Twisties. For the listener who hasn't experienced this in gymnastics, what exactly is it, and why is it such a safety risk?
The Twisties are a temporary, debilitating neurological condition. It's a sudden, complete loss of proprioception, the awareness of where your body is in space, specifically during complex twisting maneuvers. Your brain essentially disconnects from the physical reality of the rotation.
And when you're performing a triple-double on the floor or a complex dismount from the beam, losing that awareness is devastating.
It's life-threatening. If you lose control midair, you can land on your head, neck, or spine. And Biles explained that while she'd had the Twisties before, in Tokyo, they had spread to apparatuses where she'd never had issues, specifically bars and beam.
So her physical safety was genuinely at risk if she continued.
Genuinely. The subsequent days saw her withdraw from the individual all-around, vault, uneven bars, and floor finals.
And the public reaction was mixed, to say the least. It was polarized.
It was. The backlash was immediate and harsh from some corners. She was criticized, called selfish or a quitter by some international media and commentators. Sadly, even Russian state-owned media tried to resurrect the false doping scandal, slandering her due to her TB for ADHD medication.
But the larger, more powerful reaction was one of widespread international praise.
It was. Her decision sparked a necessary and overdue global conversation about mental health in elite sports.
It was a radical act of self-care performed on the world stage. It forced high achievers everywhere across all fields to question the narrative that strength means silently pushing past psychological exhaustion.
And after withdrawing from most events, she made a symbolic return for the balance beam final.
She scaled back her routine, opting for an easier double pike dismount instead of the Biles dismount, and she won the bronze medal.
That bronze medal, which tied her with Larissa Latina for most combined world and Olympic medals at 32, holds immense significance. She later said this was her most meaningful medal, symbolizing perseverance and the prioritization of mental health over technical perfection.
And the sources provide a layer of context that makes that return even more extraordinary.
Yes, she revealed that her aunt had died unexpectedly just 2 days before that final beam performance.
Unbelievable.
She competed with that immense personal grief, exhaustion, and the acute mental challenge of overcoming the Twisties. The fact that she was capable of choosing a scaled-down, safer routine and still delivering a medal speaks volumes.
She took another hiatus in 2022, but the comeback began in earnest in August 2023 at the U.S. Classic.
And immediately it was clear she was back to setting records, finishing 5 points ahead of the runner-up.
The 2023 return was characterized by extreme, almost reckless difficulty, showing she hadn't lost her ambition.
Not at all. She performed the Yurchenko double pike vault, her eponymous Biles II vault-in competition, a vault she had only attempted in the 2021 games before the Twisties hit.
We need to give this vault a moment. Why is the Yurchenko double pike so groundbreaking?
It is the pinnacle of women's vaulting. It requires the gymnast to block off the vault table and perform a double-tucked backward salto. It has a preliminary dice score of 6.6, recognizing it as the highest-valued vault in women's gymnastics history.
And only she has competed it.
Only a handful of men perform it, and she is the only woman to have successfully landed and competed it. It is a technical feat that physically and mentally demands total trust in your body's ability to rotate perfectly.
Her dominance in 2023 was absolute. At the U.S. National Championships, she won her 8th national all-around title,
Which broke a 90-year-old U.S. gymnastics title record previously held by Alfred Yurchenko, whose last title was in 1933.
90 years.
And she became the oldest woman to win the title at 26 years and 166 days old. Her sustained excellence over such a long, demanding career is nearly unmatched in the sport.
And this incredible momentum carried her straight to the 2023 World Championships in Antwerp, the site of her first world title 10 years prior.
And she qualified for all 5 individual finals, the only gymnast to do so. In the team competition, she led the U.S. women to an unprecedented 7th consecutive team gold medal.
And individually, the records just kept piling up.
She clinched her 6th world all-around gold, tying the legendary male gymnast Koushe Uchimura. In doing so, she officially surpassed Vitaly Sherbo as the most successful gymnast of all time when combining Olympics and World Championships results.
And she also continued to set apparatus records.
Winning an unprecedented 6th gold medal on floor exercise, the most titles on one apparatus in World Championships history. Even with a fall on her Yurchenko double pike in the vault final, she still secured a silver medal. Her floor for a medal is just that high.
Finally, we reached the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Her 3rd Olympic Games, a truly rare achievement for an American female artistic gymnast.
The team, nicknamed the Golden Girls, successfully won the team gold medal.
And her individual campaign was another piece of history. She won her 2nd Olympic AA title,
becoming the 3rd woman to do so and the first to achieve it non-consecutively, demonstrating remarkable longevity and resilience through the hiatuses and the mental health break.
She then won her 2nd Olympic vault title, becoming the 2nd woman after Haslovska to do that. And yes, she successfully performed her ultra-difficult Biles II, the Yurchenko double pike, during that final.
But the 2024 Games also showed the immense pressure she still faces, where small errors carry massive consequences. In the balance beam final, she fell off the apparatus and incurred a 3/10 neutral deduction for not saluting the judges properly. She finished 5th.
That 5th-place finish was significant because it was the first time in 9 major beam finals at the Olympics or Worlds that she had failed to medal on the apparatus.
Right, and then in the floor exercise final, she won silver, ending her streak of 10 consecutive international gold medals on floor due to out-of-bounds deductions.
These small misses, the beam fall, the floor deductions, they don't detract from her greatness.
No, they contextualize the immense difficulty she performs under pressure. Even with these rare errors, she ended the Games with 11 Olympic medals in total, making her the most decorated U.S. gymnast. Her consistency is a marvel.
It's a career that necessitates a complete discussion of her accolades, influence, and enduring legacy because it goes so far beyond the score sheets and the medals.
It certainly does. And we have to start with the recognition she received outside the arena. In July 2022, she was presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Joe Biden.
The nation's highest civilian honor.
And crucially, she is the youngest person ever to receive it, highlighting her immediate and profound impact on American culture and advocacy.
She is a true awards magnet. Four-time Laureate World Sportswoman of the Year.
Winning in 2017, 2019, 2020, and then again recently in 2025. The Laureates organization also named her Comeback of the Year in 2024, acknowledging how difficult it was to return to the pinnacle of her sport after Tokyo.
She's also won the Best Female Athlete ESPY Award twice and Best Comeback Athlete ESPY in 2024. The Associated Press named her Female Athlete of the Year 3 times.
And speaking of honors that transcend gymnastics, she and Olympic swimmer Katie Ledecky were the first Olympians named as sponsors of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise.
That just underscores that her influence is recognized at the highest levels of civic and military honor.
It does.
So let's revisit the Biles difficulty scale now and look at the cumulative effect of her eponymous skills, because this is her concrete, lasting impact on the sport's rules and future.
The breadth of her technical contribution is unmatched. You've got the Biles I vault and the Biles II vault, officially the most difficult vault in the women's code of points. On balance beam, the Biles dismount. And on floor, the Biles I and, most famously, the Biles II.
We have to reiterate that the Biles II on floor, the triple-double, holds the unique status of being the only J-rated element in artistic gymnastics across all disciplines for both men and women.
That is the definition of creating a new difficulty plateau.
And her ambition continued right up to Paris.
It did. In 2024, she attempted to submit a new skill on uneven bars, a Weiler kip, with a 1.5 pirouette. Although she didn't compete in Paris, had she done it successfully, she would have become the only female gymnast to have a skill named on every single apparatus.
That drive just encapsulates her relentless pursuit of technical excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, let's touch briefly on her personal life and her openness, because her transparency is an extension of her legacy of influence and self-determination.
In 2023, she married professional football player Jonathan Owens, a relationship that provided a great deal of emotional support during her most challenging years.
And she has been remarkably transparent, not just about her clinical diagnosis like ADHD and the TUE for Ritalin, but also about personal choices regarding cosmetic procedures.
Right. The sources note she has openly discussed details of a breast augmentation she underwent in 2025, as well as a lower blepharoplasty and earlobe surgery.
That level of transparency is unusual for a public figure of her stature. Why do you think that openness is so important to her overall legacy?
I think her willingness to share these facets of her life, the medical, the personal, the surgical, contributes to the idea that athletes can be complex, ambitious, and open about their challenges and choices, free from the pressure of maintaining a perfect public facade.
It's another way she applies agency and control over her own narrative.
A powerful lesson for you, the high achiever dealing with public scrutiny.
So what does this all mean? When we look back at the definitive biographical account of Simone Biles, it's a study in extremes. Absolute perfection, record-breaking difficulty, and applied critical mental resilience.
A resilience which she learned to harness very early in her career. Her total medal count at the World Championships and Olympics combined, making her the most successful gymnast in history, is only half the story.
Right.
Her career is also a monumental case study in knowledge application. The way she used sports psychology in 2013 to kickstart her career, the way she consciously chose to listen to her body and mind in 2021 in Tokyo, and the calculated way she increased her difficulty through eponymous skills.
It's true. The medals, the 6 world all-around titles, the non-consecutive Olympic AA golds, and the highest difficulty ratings all prove she mastered the sport itself. But the vulnerability she showed in Tokyo changed the conversation around mental health for high achievers everywhere.
Making her not just the greatest gymnast, but a transformative cultural figure.
So here is the provocative thought for you to carry forward after this deep dive.
Simone Biles' career is defined not just by the medals she won in Rio and Paris, but by the medals she consciously walked away from in Tokyo. How has her decision to prioritize mental health over performance, despite facing immense public and personal pressure, fundamentally altered how we measure strength and success in the world of elite sports?
And what enduring lessons does this vulnerability offer the next generation of high achievers when they're facing that impossible choice between external perfection and internal well-being? Think about that next time you face a difficult decision under intense pressure.